In major retailing news, Ikea has announced that it plans to enter the Indian retail market with a massive investment of 1.5 billion euros, which it plans to invest in the country over the next couple of years. The initial plan is to introduce 25 Ikea branded stores into the Indian market, although we're only likely to see 2 to 3 in the next couple of years. Those are most likely to be based in Mumbai and Delhi. The announcement from Ikea comes as somewhat of a U-turn in policy from the Swedish retailer, given the fact that it announced earlier in the year that it had no intention of operating in India due to the strictness of foreign direct investment regulations within the retail sector. However, the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion has relaxed the rules on single brand foreign retailers in the country, which has enabled foreign companies to own more than 51% and up to 100% equity in any Indian retail operations. One of the key criteria for foreign single brand retailers hoping to establish 100% equity ownership in the Indian market is to source at least 30% of its produce from the Indian market, preferably from small and medium-sized enterprises. This may come as somewhat of a challenge for Ikea, which has a fairly rigid sourcing strategy, and it already has very well established factories in various places in the world, including Russia and China. To switch its production facilities to India, or at least to meet the demand for the Indian market, would be somewhat of a big ask. And Ikea have already submitted in their proposal that they expect to take up to 10 years in order to reach that 30% criteria. In response to this announcement, the Department for Industrial Policy and Promotion has stated that it does not expect foreign single brand retailers to immediately meet this 30% sourcing requirement, but it does expect foreign single brand retailers to hit the 30% within roughly 3 to 5 years. Ikea's key concerns regarding the sourcing criteria is not so much the 30% requirement that it's intended to meet within the 3 to 5 period, but it is the small and medium-sized nature of the manufacturers that it will be operating with. Ikea has homogeneous lines of products which are sold throughout the entire world, and if Ikea is expected to shift any meaningful production to India, then it has to rely on the quality and quantity coming from these small and medium-sized enterprises. This may prove to be a larger challenge for Ikea than initially expected, and it's uncertain whether these small and medium-sized enterprises can push out the quantity which is required for Ikea's global demand. Another major challenge for Ikea is its store format. Ikea all around the world operates large big box stores which are boldly displaying the blue and yellow themes of Sweden to identify Ikea as both a Swedish brand and also a Swedish retailer. The key problem for these stores is that they are very large in format, and therefore they typically operate either on the edge of town or out of town automatically. In order for consumers to get to these big box stores, they typically need their own cars, and therefore they will be able to pack as much into those cars as possible. India's car ownership rates in 2011 were only 4%, and if you contrast this to Sweden's 86%, you can see where the problem lies. Ikea may have to adopt a slightly different tactic in order to address a larger proportion of the Indian consumer base. This market entry from Ikea into India is major news for the retailing industry, and a lot of retailers will be looking at Ikea's performance in the Indian market to see whether or not they can profitably operate their own business models within the Indian market.